So Rory, I know we talked not that long ago. You're probably sick of seeing me by this point, but obviously now you know the fight, you know the date. Obviously, you've been down at Sanford MMA training. How excited are you just to have all that done now?
Yeah, it's nice to be here and starting to feel like home here. And we're just kicking off training camp now, so I'm looking forward to getting that started.
Yeah. When we spoke before, we kind of knew the lay of the land of PFL in terms of the competition, but now we know the full welterweight division. We know the first matchups. Obviously, you're going to be in the main event on April 29th against David Michaud. Were you happy with the overall look of this division now that it's completely filled out? Gleason Tebow's in there, which is a fun addition. Lexi Konchenko is a fun addition. So kind of give me your thoughts on the welterweight division now that you know everybody.
I think they did a great job with the welterweights. I'm really impressed with the lineup, and every single person that they have there has their dangers, and I take every one of them seriously. I think they're all going to try to bring it. They're all serious competitors, and I'm sure they're all gunning for me. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you've kind of had that target on your back a lot during your career. The day you showed up in Bellator, I mean, you knew what it was going to be. There's going to be people gunning. They want to be the guy to beat Rory MacDonald. And now in PFL, you may not have the title, but immediately you're going to have your target on your back. I mean, is that just kind of it just comes to the territory of being who you are at this point?
Sure. Yeah, I've made a name for myself in my UFC career and with Bellator. So, yeah, I kind of expected that coming into PFL because a lot of these guys haven't been on those stages yet, and they want to use my name as a stepping stone for their own. It's only natural.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of reasons why you went to PFL, but now that it's finally here, now that you finally have the date, you finally have the opponent, you know what the season's going to look like, and you know the competition you're going to get, because that's kind of an unknown. When you sign, you don't know what the entire division is going to look like. You assume Ray Cooper's probably coming back because he was the last champion, but you don't know what the lineup's going to look like when you sign with PFL. But now that you see the competition you're facing, now that you actually have a fight booked, which I know is probably the biggest thing, like, do you feel like, coming to PFL was the best decision for your career?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't started the season yet, so I'm eager to get in there and have my experience and see how it's run, and I'm looking forward to competing for PFL and the upcoming fight.
Yeah. What did you think of David Michaud when you got that name? He's an experienced guy, obviously UFC veteran. He did fight in Bellator one time. Obviously made it to the finals of the last season for PFL. Very tough kid, good wrestling, kind of a nasty brawler. What did you think of this match? I imagine it didn't matter to you too much who you fought, but what did you think of this particular matchup?
Well, I think it's a good fight. I mean, he obviously brings it. He wants to fight hard and make it a dogfight. He's very durable from what I've seen, and he brings it. So I'm looking forward to it. He's good competition for me, but I do believe that I'm going to be overwhelming for him.
Yeah. Do you feel like that, a guy that does try to turn it into a bit of a dogfight, a guy who will come after you, actually gives you more opportunities to kind of ply your craft, to kind of do what you do best? Because again, you're not going to have to go looking for this guy.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be a hard fight. I'm sure he's going to want to be in my face, and I'm up for that.
What is it? I mean, obviously, again, we talked about the career you built, the name you built in your career. You're going to be headlining the first PFL card, on the same card, with Ray Cooper, who is the current champion, and he's actually going to be serving as your co-main event. So you kind of know where you stand in this division, but you're not a guy. You've never been a trash talker. You've never been that kind of guy to tout yourself. But do you feel like you're the favorite here? I mean, when you look at this, when you look at the field, you kind of look at yourself and say, "Yeah, I am. I feel like I am a step ahead of most of these guys."
Well, I mean, personally, I believe I'm going to win the tournament. I mean, I'm very confident with where I'm at in my career. I feel like I'm coming in the best version of myself, and I'm excited to show that. Every single one of these guys thinks the same of themselves. So, may the best men win. I'm ready. Bring it.
Last time we spoke, you were just, I want to say, about a week or 10 days into your trip to Florida. I saw you put up on your YouTube channel your first week in Florida. It seems like the kids are adjusting; they're enjoying the weather, which I'm sure is nice from the change in Montreal. But how has the training been? I saw you working some pads with Henry Hooft, the coaching staff down there. Now that you've been down there for a little while, how have you come to find to call Florida home?
I've been really enjoying it. Obviously, the weather's nice. It's the gym is awesome. It's like the best facility I've ever trained at. Atmosphere is great. The coaches there have really set a great standard for the attitude in there and the energy, and the hunger of everybody in the room. I really enjoy it, and all the other benefits that they've set up too, with the Sanford Health and all those other things that come along with the gym. I really love the place and happy to be here.
Yeah, I know from a lot of people I talk to that go to Stanford, it's almost like your own kind of UFC Performance Institute, because they have physical therapists on staff, they have your doctors, and I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but I imagine as you get ready to fight 5 times in about 7 months, having those kind of things at your fingertips is probably a pretty big benefit, right?
Yeah, no, it's a key thing. Even just moving down here was a lot of stress, and so it's been nice to take advantage of the recovery stuff there.
Yeah. Now you told me when we spoke previously that you feel like, this is going to be a new home for you. And I think everyone knows, of course, you've trained with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great training partners over the years. Faraz Zahabi was your head coach for many, many years. Now you're down there working with Sanford. It seems like, everyone I speak to, loves the coaching staff down there, from Henry Hooft, who is kind of the head coach, to Kami Barzini and Greg Jones, all the guys down there. So as a guy who has worked with a lot of great coaches in your career, how has that been, working with the coaching staff down there?
They've been great, super nice guys, very welcoming, and they've shown me a lot of they've given me a lot of opportunities to give me advice and things and help where I need it. So I'm very appreciative of them taking their time, and they have such a big stable of fighters, and they've reached out to me and given me a hand and given me a warm welcome. I don't feel like I'm excluded, so to speak, or an outsider. They've really made me feel at home.
Yeah. Now, I know the fight's still 2 months away and you're really just starting your training camp right now, but do you know who's going to be in your corner for the fight?
By the way it's looking, it looks like nobody's going to be in my corner, actually.
Nobody?
Yeah. Well, I'm not really too sure how that's going to work out with the quarantine protocol with PFL. It's still kind of trying to figure that out, but I might be solo at the way things are looking.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I hadn't heard anything about that. Is it just like the quarantine before the fight? Like how long you have to be there? Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's 17 days is what I've heard so far.
Oh, wow. And I imagine that would be kind of hard for your coaches to be away for 17 days ahead of a fight.
Yeah, and training partners. I mean, everybody's got fights coming up. My coaches here have a bunch of fighters that they have to look after, and everybody's fighting around April, May. So unfortunately, none of them are going to be able to make it for that long. And then my coaches in Canada, they have gyms and businesses and obligations, families, so that they come there for 17 weeks. Plus, if they go back, they have to quarantine for another 2 weeks. So they can't take that time away from their families, their businesses, things like that. So it's a bit of a tough situation right now as far as that goes. Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're a veteran, you've been around, but I mean, I don't know, like, is that something like, I mean, obviously you know about it ahead of time, hopefully, maybe it'll get better by the time you actually fight in April, but is that something you just have to, I mean, I guess you just deal with it? I mean, I guess you can't really do much else about it.
I've been trying to, tell my management, and my management's been reaching out to PFL, but I haven't got much leeway from them as far as anything. I'm feeling a lot in the dark as far as how things are going to go. So just kind of playing it by ear right now and trying to not let it stress me out and just go with the flow every day and do my best to focus on what I can control, and that's just getting in the best shape possible and putting in the work. So that's the important thing anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so weird. Like I said, obviously we all want to be careful. We all want to be safe, but yeah, that does seem a little wild. Like I said, I mean, the UFC and Bellator have been running shows, and obviously everyone gets tested and all that kind of stuff. But that does seem kind of crazy. 17 days. That's a long time.
It is. Yeah. I don't know if I want to comment anymore on it.
Yeah, no, I understand. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, I saw when you're training down there, you're a professional, so obviously, you're going to run into people you fought before. But of course, one of your most famous moments in your entire career, you always get asked about is the fight with Robbie Lawler, the rematch in the UFC. And I saw now you guys are actually training together down at Sanford. How has that been, getting another guy like Robbie? How's that been working with a former opponent, but also a guy I'm sure you have a lot of respect for?
Yeah, no, it's great. Robbie's always been a really nice guy and very approachable. And, I don't think we've actually been able to do any work, so to speak, together, but we've definitely been in the same training room side by side, working together with the coaches. So it's been cool. It's a nice vibe in there.
Yeah.
Robbie guy's easy to be around, easy to train, and obviously there's no animosity, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I imagine, like I said, you guys had your fights, and now you're in different organizations, so it's not like you're gonna fight again, or at least it wouldn't be anytime soon if you did. But I imagine just having that knowledge. I mean, like I said, you've been around the sport. I'm sure you're gonna, if he asks for your help, you'll be there, and I'm sure the same way for you. But having a guy like that in the gym, I know Gilbert Burns. I just spoke to him about a week ago. I saw he just got back in the gym, I think yesterday. That's another great welterweight to add to your camp. So, I mean, again, there's no shortage of great guys to work with down there.
Ton of guys my size. So I'm really happy about that. A lot of skilled guys that I could learn from and push myself, and it'll be good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it seems like I said, I know we were kind of playing the waiting game the last time we spoke, just, kind of waiting for the opponent and waiting for the date to get here. But now it's real. And now we actually know the date, your opponent. Like, do you allow yourself to get a little bit excited right now, just knowing that, like, it's finally here? Because again, I know it's been weird. Like, you've never had this kind of layoff before.
Yeah, I've kind of had similar layoffs. I feel like I might even have longer layoffs after a few fights. So I feel like I'm used to it by now. And I use the time wisely. I worked on things that need to be worked on, and it was a blessing in disguise the year off. So I feel like I'm coming in full force and the best version of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rory, I know we're all excited to see you back. And yeah, when I think about time off, like, I always think about injuries. Like, if you're off, I think, oh, well, he must have been injured. Like, this last year, like, you nothing. You were just off. It's like, it's just a weird thing. Like we talked about before. I'm sure it's just weird not to, like, okay, I don't have a date. I don't have an opponent. Yeah, it's just a weird thing, right?
Yeah, it is a bit bizarre, but it was okay. It was good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rory, I'm glad the family is doing well down in Florida. I'm glad you guys have really acclimated to the gym down there. I hear nothing but great things about Sanford. Obviously, I'm excited that you got a date, you got an opponent. The season's kicking off, man. Talk about these first two cards. Anthony Pettis headlining the first one. You're headlining the second one, man. PFL starting out strong this year.
They're doing great. I think we can. I believe that they're going to be signing a ton of new guys, free agents, and they're going to be paying good money for the big names out there. And I think a lot of fighters in these large organizations are going to start taking notice as more and more fighters start flooding over to PFL and seeing that they're a serious player. And so I believe the seasons are only going to get more and more competitive, and more guys from these larger organizations that have made a name for themselves. And also the guys here in PFL are going to, make a name for themselves by competing against these guys that have already, made a name, like, some of these main staple guys in PFL already. So I believe that PFL will be one of the major organizations in a fairly short period of time.
I absolutely agree. Rory, thank you so much for the time as always. I really do appreciate it. Have a good rest of your training camp. Cannot wait to see you back on April 29th.